Hi, everybody. We're back live. Welcome back to Aliens and Angels. Today, this is our second Q&A community chat, and the subject is, are aliens working with humans? So as some of you are already aware, there's been remote viewers that have seen ET bases here on Earth with military presence. Also, remote views of the moon, Mars, and other planets with military presence, and much more. So we're going to get into that today. Please post your questions and comments during the live chat. You're welcome to join our Facebook group called Aliens and Angels. And as usual, all the links are featured below in the description. Check me out, subscribe to my channels, leave me a comment, like my videos, and share this content with your friends. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's check out, see who's in the chat. Hi, Dawn. Nice to see you. So glad that you're here. I was on Dawn's show. Actually, we recorded it yesterday and it came out early this morning. So of those of you who are interested in learning a whole bunch about grid work and artificial AI, ancient AI, how it's tied into this present system, be sure to check out Dawn's channel. And I highly recommend it. So it's March 4th with the number 4th Productions. Also put in Dawn Rogers so you can find the right one, because there may be more than one channel. So hello, and hello, Angel Wings. Nice to see you too. And it's just lovely to have people that I can get into this exciting topic about. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know if you folks have seen the different videos about the remote viewers who have seen alien space, no, sorry, not space, but basically bases here on Earth. And it gets confusing because there are aliens that we refer to as ETs that we think are from other planets, and of course there's some from other dimensions. But there's also apparently alien bases here on the Earth, and they've probably been here as long as we have, or at least for thousands of years. So remote viewers who are very well known, work for the government, have seen these bases. And when they view the bases, they also notice that there is a military presence. Sometimes it's an international military presence, and sometimes it's American. And the same goes for the moon and Mars and Venus and other planets, even in our solar system. So I have a feeling that we have not been alone for a very, very long time. And I also have noticed that there are experiences that people talk about that they have. And I'm going to differentiate between abductees and contactees. Contactees are generally have more positive experiences, or they may have thought that in the beginning they were abductees, but once they understood what was going on, they basically became willing contactees. And that's one thing. But here I'm going to talk about actual people who claim to be abductees, where they're taken against their will, and often they experience going underground. They experience going into underground tunnels. They end up in facilities that seem to be shared between the military or perhaps the black ops, invisible military, and also what we would call aliens working together. And it seems to me like the majority of these frightening abduction scenarios do include an element of the military. So that's what makes me think that the military, or at least humans, are working with what we would consider aliens, or at least non-humans, and probably have done so for some time. So I'm wondering if anybody in the chat has a comment about that or wants to delve into that a little further. Guess everybody's busy typing, so I'll just talk a little bit about that. So, yeah, so I watch different videos, like for instance, the Y files. What I like about the Y files is that they present the urban legend or the story that many of us buy into about extraterrestrial contact and other paranormal experiences and anomalies here on the earth. But then after they present all that information, then the guy does a deep dive fact checking for himself and does a lot of research, and then pulls out what there's evidence supporting the situation and what evidence is missing. And so he himself started off as a real skeptic and didn't really believe in any of this stuff, but um, he eventually ended up becoming a believer because there is evidence to support this, at least enough evidence to convince him. So I really like his show because he shows both sides of the situation. So we've got a comment here from Dawn. Hi, Dawn. He says, I know in my transdimensional memories that have been coming back, the timeline I experience, we do. So I'm assuming that in your transdimensional memories and your experiences, that you have also noticed that there is a human interplay with what's going on with the aliens. And Angel Wing says, I had another balloon boss me around, thought you'd get a kick out of it again. He went right into my face, floated to the empty water bowl and cat food station. He was impatient. Well, I'm not really sure what that has to do with the subject, but anyway, that's nice to know. So, oh, Don says, we get a lot of advanced tech from them. Yeah, I totally believe that. Because you figure from the time they had Orville Wright and Wilbur Wright and their sort of flying contraption, precursor to the airplane, it was only 20 years later that there was the first transdimensional flight across the Atlantic Ocean from Europe to the United States. And then it was only 20 years later after that that they, well, probably maybe put a man on the moon. And technology has progressed so fast, like with fiber optics, integrated circuits, and even AI. I totally believe that, Don, that we do get a lot of advanced tech from them. And I wonder what kind of trade have the governments made with these humanoid species. So, like, I think that humanoid species, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't think they're all benevolent. I don't think they're all malevolent. There's evidence to support both. I have had positive, benevolent experiences with extraterrestrials, but I haven't, as far as I know, had contact with the humanoids that live below the ground, under mountains, or perhaps under the sea. So I can't speak from my own experience there, but I have seen the explosion in technology. And, it wasn't very long ago that we didn't even have cell phones. It wasn't very long before that. It was after my children were born that we had computers. So I would totally agree with that. Angel Wings says a lot of hidden realms are coming through sometimes as well in higher dimensions. Well, that's the other thing too. How do we know what's interdimensional and what's not? What's coming through dimensions, and that those could be dimensions that coexist here on the earth, or that could also be dimensions that are someplace else. And I'll give an example of what I mean by that. I've had transdimensional experiences where I have gone to the big ship. This happens to me at night when I'm sleeping, but there is a big difference between these experiences and my normal dream state. So as I go to the big ship, I sort of pick up where I left off the night before. It's very congruent. The storyline makes a lot of sense. I remember details, and there's a time dilation. So while I'm there, it could be weeks, even months, and then I come back and it's the next morning, which kind of messes or used to really mess with my head until I understood what was happening. And the big ship itself doesn't exist here or there. It's in interdimensional space. It's at an overlap point between many different dimensional realities. And because of that, it's very easy for them to transport people, beings like myself, onto the big ship to have these amazing experiences. So that's the other thing, you know. So there's the whole aspect of whether or not ETs are from far away, or whether they're from here, or whether they're from far away and have technologies to bring them here almost instantly, because it's unlikely they're going to spend thousands of years on a ship slowly traversing their way through the galaxy and even the solar system, which is huge. It's mind-bogglingly huge. Then, you know, maybe they've been here all along. Maybe there is an agreement between the military, the governments, and what I'm going to call loosely aliens, to facilitate them to continue on without us knowing, which certainly explains why there's been a huge cover up and denial of UFOs and extraterrestrial presence. I'm just going to take another comment here from Don. Don Rogers, he says, I heard the stealth tech came as an exchange to give us interstellar travel, but the government got screwed or screwed us. Oh, they screwed us. Oh my God, that's horrible. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because there are so many people who go missing every single year. It's mind-boggling. Millions of people go missing every year and they're never found. Where are they going? Are they being transported for experimentation in underground bases, or are they being sent someplace else? We don't know if we're being used for experimentation, whether we're being used as a food source. Like, oh my God, it's pretty frightening if you delve into it too deeply. So, yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know, but I thought I would put it out to the chat because I thought it was an interesting concept. And there's so much evidence that humans are working with aliens. So the other thing that comes to mind is the question, it seems like our social and our political and our economic system is in steep decline. Everything seems to be getting worse, not better. And if we were receiving technologies from, let me just say, futuristic beings, um, and we were supposed to be so ahead of the game because of all that, then why aren't we using free energy? Why aren't we using free energy? If we had free energy, we could solve a lot of the problems we have here on Earth. And I know I'm diverging a bit from my original point, but it is sort of relevant. And that is, there have been quite a few people who have invented vehicles that run on water, vehicles that run on air, zero-point technologies, anti-gravity, and in every single case, their information, their knowledge, their proof, their contraptions, their notes, everything are confiscated and kept from us, and the people are dead very quickly after. Sometimes it's called suicide, sometimes it's called murder or accidents, but one way or another, they're all dead. And why would this technology be kept from us? I think the only reason that comes to mind for me is that those of power want to maintain their power. And if you've done any research into Tesla, you will see that's exactly what happened to him. And well, he wasn't killed, but may as well have been. He was completely ostracized. All his work, everything was taken. In the end, when he passed away, his technology did not go on to benefit humankind. So there's that as well. And I'll just take another comment here from Angel Wings. I used to remember going on ships. I had been in recuperation, barely survived a soul eater, not a fun time learning about these either, and lost myself literally. I'm like I'm like in a line of defense and hidden now. Well, I don't dispute that. I mean, I've had so many strange experiences that when I tell other people, sometimes all the response I get is laughter. And I don't blame them because we can only kind of fathom that is like what we've experienced ourselves. And I've experienced some very interesting paranormal experiences. So I would not doubt other people's experiences as well. And so yeah, so I'm thinking, the other thing is we live on a planet with just a huge multitude of resources in on every level. It's a beautiful, beautiful world. It's a magical kingdom. It's abundant with everything we need if only humans stop messing with it. And I'm not talking about you and I mean, if you're a litter bug, then yeah, maybe. But basically, I'm talking about the powers that be that want to profit off of our, off of our resources. And that's another thing too. This world is very much driven by money, money, money. Money has become the god of this system. And the truth is, we don't even need money. We could be a resource-based world where resources are more important than money. And included in those resources are the plants, the animals, and of course, the people. And we've got a lot to offer. And I'm just hoping that as things progress and cycles continue, we're going to come out ahead and be in more of a position to have a healthier world and a healthier population of humans, and possibly have um, relationships with non-human entities. Now, the other thing too is, whose world is it? Like, people really believe, and partly because of religion, that this world belongs to humans and we can do what we want with it. But what if the aliens have been here longer than us? Then who has squatting rights? It's just something to think about. Oh, I'm just going to take a comment from Dawn here. My opinion on that goes down the ruling family's rabbit hole. They need to control and feed off of us and make us rely on their system. Well, absolutely. They got nothing if they don't have us buying into their system. Absolutely nothing. They need us to believe. They need to create the illusion of scarcity, that we need money, that, we can't govern or rule ourselves, that um, we can't make it on our own. One of the visions I had, one of the things I experienced, for those that don't know, are visions. And one of the visions I had was of how the world could be governed really differently, actually a complete inversion of what's happening now, where we could have small neighborhoods that form their own governance and their own, what's working well, what's not, what's needed, and they could run off the resources of that community. And then there could be larger um, groups where the different neighborhoods come together and basically appoint somebody to carry the information onward, from larger communities that might include a dozen neighborhoods. And then those might go on to carry the information and instructions from the grassroots to a city size community, and on it could go to the regional and then to the provincial or the state level. And they could then carry the information to a national level. But it would be the communities, the small neighborhoods, who would decide on how they want to live, how they want to do things, what they need, what they don't need. And it could be really quite a different world that we live in. I'm not saying it would guarantee to work and not have any problems, but I am saying that there are different ways of having governance on any particular planet. And I've seen many myself because I've been involved in intergalactic resettlement and pre-settlement and research aboard the big ship. So, yeah. And Don also says fossil fuel is a rocky fella created word. Well, that's true. Actually, they found out that they created the concept of fossil fuels because they wanted us to think it was a rare commodity. And the truth is, it's not made out of fossils. It's not fossil fuels. It's not made by dead dinosaurs. It's actually a lubricant that keeps things moving as they should, because all living things expand, contract, and move on our physical Earth, including the Earth itself. And it's a lubricant that helps the different plates to move when they need to release pressure, things like that. And it's actually constantly being made. So there's pretty small chance, even at our current population levels, that we would run out. But that being said, it's not the most efficient way of powering things. So just think about how the world would be so different if we had 0 point energy, which is just taking energy from the ethers and collecting it, much the way you would collect rainwater, and using it. People would have all the energy they needed. That would help enormously in transportation, the comfort of and the everyday standard of living, all of that kind of thing. So, yeah, could be a really different world, but guess what? There are a few people who have a tremendous amount of power. Um, well, it's actually illusionary power. It comes from the money system mostly that they've created, that in itself is not even a real thing. Um, and yep, it's all going to crash and it's all going to burn, and then we'll have something else, but I don't know what. So I wanted to just get back a little bit to the whole idea of humans working with aliens. So since I have not seen evidence of our world improving, as we also see evidence that this is indeed happening, this sort of coalition, I'm wondering if perhaps the aliens have threatened the government, saying either you do certain things for us or we're going to just exterminate you. I mean, that makes sense if they have real power, maybe not spiritual power, but definitely technological power over us. So that's one scenario I've thought of, and I don't know what you folks think about that. Another scenario is that the beings are malevolent, lacking a spirituality or spiritual quality. You see, my guides have taught me that everything is under the same spiritual system. Just because beings look different than us, or may originate from a different star system, or who knows from where, um, doesn't mean that they can escape karma and can escape a lot of the spiritual ways that are a reality. So, from a created universe perspective, and as creative beings, they would have been originally created as well. Now, if they chose to cut themselves off from source and go on their own, well, sometimes that happens for a while, but generally they self-destruct. Same as the powerful humans that are pulling the strings here on Earth. But they still are accountable for everything they do. And so I'm not sure what to say about that, but depends on how you look at it. Angel Wings says, I think that's why the Earth is starting to go into a higher dimensional rebirth, trying to heal itself and cleanse itself from so much negative energy. It's going to take a lot. There's a lot of help. Oh, yeah, I would totally agree with that. I agree. I think that there is a wisdom. Some people call it chi or prana or 0 point. Some call it Holy Spirit. I think there is an active force that's alive in every living thing. And I think it has a wisdom of its own. And I think when the time comes or when the certain cycle for learning has completed, then there's a shift. And then we move on to a higher way of being, a higher frequency. And then there is the possibility that we will split off from the lower frequency timeline and create a new timeline where the other just doesn't exist anymore. And there's evidence in that in the different sacred writings where they say that we won't remember the bad things anymore and every tear will be wiped from our eye. So that is also very possible. Don, he's clapping his hands, so I'm guessing he's agreeing with what we're saying here. So, yeah, so I think just based on what I know and what I believe is, or a working theory, I should say, is that extraterrestrials are indeed, oh, maybe I should call them aliens. Maybe they've been here for thousands of years, are working with the military and the governments. And it's kind of a good question is who's conning who? Are the aliens conning the humans or are the humans conning the aliens? Because I got to tell you, nobody's asked me if it's okay for them to take people and interestingly, those who are abducted often report back that there's a military presence. Nobody asked me if this was okay. I would say that it would have to go out to humanity and that we as a collective would have a say. And if extraterrestrials or aliens or humanoids can't see that our ruling classes don't have the common people's best interests at heart, then they're not as smart as they think they are, or perhaps that we're giving them credit for. Don says, what if the split is being of such different frequency that you can no longer perceive those that remain at the lower vibration? Exactly, exactly. I believe this is indeed happening. Because you see, if you take humans or you take aliens or other kinds of beings, and if they lack the power that comes with being able to empathize or have compassion, they also lack creativity, they lack a higher understanding. And what's happened is we've already splitting off from them. And so we will meet where those who can hold the frequency will meet in spaces that support us. And I think those who can't, sucks to be them. And it's not like people aren't getting a lot of warning. I think a lot of the things that are happening on the earth right now are actually part of the waking up process so that people will not be able to say, gee, I didn't know. I didn't have any clue. I didn't have any warning. I wasn't given a chance. No, we're given lots of chances. And not to mention the spiritual awakening that actually comes from within. So on that note, I'm just going to quickly do a brief promotion here, and then I'll be right back. Save up your questions. Love to hear them. Love to hear your comments. Thank you so much for participating in this live. Hi guys, break time for a short message. YouTube will not monetize me, so if you enjoy my content, and want to support my efforts, help me to cover my expenses by visiting my shop to buy yourself a beautiful orgone generator. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand, and they are ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. They are only available through my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. Many people are finding comfort with Zendome's orgone generators, commonly called Orgonite. They are a simple compound which balance ambient energy by converting negative energy and EMF into positive healing energy with many easily confirmed health benefits. They are a simple compound with alchemic and energetic properties. These devices function as self-driven, continuously operating, highly efficient, negative to positive energy transmutation factories. They help diminish the harmful effects of electromagnetic frequency radiation by attracting and converting negative energies, retuning them into new and more healthful sound and light wave patterns. And they help to purify the atmosphere and accelerate plant growth. They also help stimulate positive mood and are a natural remedy for poor sleep patterns. When Orgonite is within range of any corded or wireless electronic device, it will efficiently and continuously transform that energy into orgone as it is being transmitted. This essentially creates orgone energy transmitters out of any and all emitters of harmful negative energy. You can use these devices for focusing the mind, healing, meditation, and for spiritual growth. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand of orgone generators, and they are only available through my website. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out my website to see my latest selection at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. That's KarenHolton healthcoach.com. Check them out today. Now, let's get back to the show. Thank you for watching that with me. I also want to give a shout out to Don Rogers again. That's Don Rogers at March the 4th Productions on YouTube and also Rumble and Facebook. And he's been wonderful at promoting my my orgone generators, which the sale of those orgone generators helps me to cover my expenses, you know, to subscribe to StreamYard and Zoom and my website and millions of small expenses so that I can bring this show to you and the content. So I want to thank Dawn and also Canadian Spinja for that. And yeah, so anyway, let's get back on it. So what does Angel Wings have to say? Love at its highest frequency and just forgiveness is your greatest weapon against the negative. See things from a neutral perspective to help throw many illusions, help you through the many creations, the many illusions that they create. And Dawn says, it's an honor. The ones you sent help clear a lot of negative space and the pets love them. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you so much. Yeah, I have got orgone generators in every room of the house. And when you put them in the different rooms of your house, they actually form a grid because I've done a process with them I call quantum entanglement so that they connect to each other and they form a grid and they become more powerful. And interestingly, as they go out into the world, they also form a global grid that helps bring positive energy, helps plants to grow, helps people feel better. And I'm just so blessed that I found out about them. And how did I find out about them? My extraterrestrial contacts are the ones that told me about orgone generators in the first place. And I did research, and then I realized I needed them in my home, not just for transmuting the electromagnetic frequencies into positive frequencies, but also as protection. Because of the nature of the work that I do, I want to make sure that spiritually and karmically, things are pretty squeaky clean, so I can have the kind of life that I want. And Angel Wings says, love your orgone generators. By the way, they're great. I still use them, and my cat sits with them too. Oh, that's wonderful to know. Thank you. Thank you, Angel Wings, for telling us that. Yeah, and thank you for your recommendations. You guys are awesome, and I really appreciate it. But anyway, the show's not about orgone generators, but it is kind of germane to the whole subject of extraterrestrials. And maybe that's why I'm not having them come to try to drag me off or abduct me. Of course, I think probably the real reason they don't bother me is because I'm more trouble than I'm worth. If they abduct me today, they're sure as hell going to bring me back in the morning. And plus, I know what they can and cannot do. They're not going to push my boundaries. And I think boundaries, personal internal boundaries, is also a really large part in dealing with any kind of being that we're not comfortable with. There's no need for them to come into our realm. Whether we are indigenous to Earth or whether we've been created here, which I don't think we've been created here. I think we were created, and then along the way, our genetics have been tinkered with. That I do believe, just based on our chromosomes. Did you know that an octopus has hundreds more chromosomes than humans have? They're smarter. They can grow back limbs. I mean, do some research on octopus. Every, I guess, research group that's done research into octopus, they all kind of come to the same conclusion that maybe those are aliens. So it's an interesting thing to look at for sure. And Don has another comment. He says, Frank Castle taught me. That's nice. I was here before you were thought of when I get taken. That's a really good point. So I agree with that. This is our realm. And when I say our realm, I'm not even specifically talking about the earth. I'm talking about the sphere that surrounds us. Our hearts produce a toroidal field. And if you could think about us being within a sphere, and it's a little higher than the top of our head, goes below our feet. And if we stretch our arms out side by side and reach as far as we can, it's a little bit beyond our fingertips. That's our realm. And that's the energy field that's generated by our toroidal field. And you can do research on this. I recommend you go to the Heart Math Institute if you want to learn more about that. And And that's our realm. Now, when we're around other people, our realms overlap. So there's kind of a Venn diagram area where we're sharing space. But we can decide who we want in our space and who we don't want to have in our space. And I find that once we get that boundary clearly defined within, it's easy for us to just say, you know what? I don't like your energy, be gone. Just like that. Banish negative energies. You can also banish negative thoughts. We all have negative thoughts. We all have thoughts, and then we go, whoa, where did that come from? Sometimes it's part of shadow work, but part-time it's intrusive, and we do not have to put up with it. And when that happens for me, I just say, clearly that is not who I am. So I don't know where this is coming from. Thank you for your information. Now buzz off. And seriously, we need to take a firm hand when it comes to our realm. And we need to protect ourselves and take good care of ourselves. And the more we raise our frequency, the stronger our realm becomes. Angel Wings says some of the many tools to use to help heal through this dark time, see the light within ourselves, positive solutions, crystals and frequency music helps, as well as combining them as tools. I would agree with that as well. Like I said, I have a lot of organite. My guides and my extraterrestrial friends actually turn me on to them, like I said before. And wow, it really, really makes a big difference. Not to mention my plants grow like crazy, and forgive me when I forget to water them. And the cats, they love them too. So there's something to it for sure. Plus, my health has steadily improved. since I brought them into my home. And of course, because I sell them, I have a little warehouse in my house. So I've got lots and lots. And yeah, and I always bless the orgone generators before they go out. I smudge them. I expose them to sunlight. Well, first I clean them, then I smudge them, then I expose them to sunlight, then I play high frequency music to them, and then the crystals absorb an imprint from that really positive way I'm treating them, and they carry that with them to your home. So, yeah, so definitely you can use those things. So, so it sounds to me like the audience agrees that possibly aliens are working with humans. But what's interesting to me is it seems like the higher frequency ETs or higher frequency beings or angelic beings even do not cross our boundaries. They do not abduct. They will contact kind of gently. I found that my contact was gentle, and I had to be okay with it for it to continue and progress. They do not cross your boundaries. They do not cause harm. In fact, I know people say, oh, that's from Star Trek, but the prime directive of non-interference is very, very strong amongst the higher dimensional beings. So I think that whatever's going on between a cooperation between what I will call aliens and the military, I have no idea what's going on with that, but I do know in my heart of hearts, if it doesn't um, fit in with what Source wants from us, and I totally believe in Source. I'm not a religious person. I don't participate in religion anymore, but I definitely am aware that Source is a real thing. And I'm also really aware that my spirit guides are real things. And it is so cool to put them to the test. I don't put them to the test anymore, but I spent about 10 years putting them to the test and saying, if this is real, I want proof. I want visible evidence. I want to know for sure. So I didn't just get synchronicities, I had miracles happen. Things I never dreamed possible happened for me. And the evidence was so overwhelming that after a while I went, this is ridiculous. I'm not asking for proof anymore. So if you out there have not yet tried asking for proof, I'd say try it because, I don't think I'm a unique kind of person. I think that I'm pretty ordinary. I think that the things that I experience, you could experience yourselves. I think that we could all have a very different reality if we just expand our minds a little bit and give it a chance. Definitely. So I'm just wondering if there are any more comments from the chat, and if not, then I guess I will wrap it up. I've said pretty well everything I want to say, and but I do want to give those in the chat, in the live chat, a chance to add what they want to say. And while I give you a few minutes to possibly ask some questions or post some comments, I also want to say that I'm going to have a free giveaway in a few weeks. Once I start getting a little bit more presence with the live chat, I am going to, and also, I also would love to include all the people from my Facebook group called Aliens and Angels. If you haven't joined that group, I highly recommend it. It's not so much of a discussion group as a place where like-minded people are posting their experiences, their shows, their information. It's very helpful, and I have found it to be a very low drama group so far. And if you're a member of that group, Aliens and Angels, you will be eligible to come and join us for the free giveaway. So I'm going to give it a few weeks to build up the live chat until we get a few more people joining us regularly. And then I'm going to do a free giveaway. And I'm going to give away an orgone generator, probably a pyramid, also a pendant, an orgone generating pendant. And I'm going to give away a beautiful cloth that was crocheted by Canadian Spinja. And if you haven't been to her channel and checked out her shows. I highly recommend it. She is a fiber artist. She's very, very talented, and she weaves a lot of love and a lot of good intentions and positive high frequency vibration into everything that she crochets and that she knits. So I'm going to include a little bit of her handiwork in the free giveaway. And if you live in North America, I will send you these things. And if you live outside of North America, I will ask you to help cover the cost of shipping because it can be quite expensive. So on that happy note, let's see, we got one more comment from Don Rogers. He says, I am good. Thank you for the show. Love the format. Thank you, Don. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate you being here, and I really appreciate your comments. So in future episodes, I will have co-hosts on to share in the discussion. And I'm just getting started, and this is just the second week for doing the Aliens and Angels Live. Now, I recommend that you check out on my YouTube channel. I have a playlist. Also, I have a playlist on my website, and you can watch some of the previous episodes I have done, where everybody who I have on this program has personally experienced ET contact or angelic contact or a combination of both. And then another thing we're going to do in an upcoming episode is we're going to talk about, are extraterrestrials or aliens the same thing as angels? Are angels part of the same paradigm? I don't know what your thoughts are about that. Angel Wings says they are definitely around. Their main message that I get from ETs and angelics and guardians, they ask for help and guardians ask for help. They are always willing to assist, but it must be asked so we know the difference between positives. Now, I would agree with that. That goes back to what I was saying, is that the higher frequency beings will not interfere in your life. You need to ask them to participate, ask them for help, and then they're more than willing to give you 1,000% of what you ask for. That's been my experience. Absolutely. Thank you, Angel Wings, for being here today. Thank you, Don Rogers. I'm sending out my love to everybody. And for those of you catching the replay, please do join us next week. We are airing live every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, and at high noon here on Mountain Time. So I'm just going to go back to, sorry guys, I'm still getting used to StreamYard. So I do hope that you will join us next week. I look forward to talking with you and having you be part of our live show. Thank you so much. And on that happy note, we're just going to sorry, guys. Thank you for joining me for the Aliens and Angels podcast. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will also find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton on all audio platforms. A very special thank you to Andy Gambino and Anthony Exemplar from the Unidentified S4 channel for creating the beautiful introduction for this podcast. Until next time, keep up the good work.